Hi everyone, welcome to Edupedia World. I am C. Radhika Singhal. In the previous lecture, we discussed how to compute the market value of the share when the company is having unstable growth for few years, and after that, there is some normalized rate at which the company is growing. But what about KE? If I ask you to compute the required rate of return, and I give you the information that this is the market value of share as on today. These are the growth rate for few years and this is the stabilized growth rate. And now I'm asking that basis this information you have to compute the expectation of shareholder, or I can say the capitalization value. Which growth rate you are going to consider? 12, 10, 8. I'm taking the same example that I discussed in the last lecture where we computed that the market value of share is 22.34. The growth rate for first 2 years is 12%. After that, it falls down to 10%. And after the fourth year, it stabilized at 8%. In, in the last section, I have already given you the information that KE is 16%. But what if I'm not going to mention that this is the KE? So, what will be the discounting rate? I'm just mentioning that the market value is 22.34. These are the growth rates. Tell me what exactly is the expectation of shareholder. The biggest question is that which growth rate you are going to consider in the Gordon model to compute this KE. To solve this problem, because there is no single growth rate, we cannot take 8, 10 or 12. So in order to solve this problem, we are going to first compute that what is the approximate KE, which that आसपास किसके है value, that KE value is nearby to which expected value. So to solve such types of problems, we have to first compute an approximate KE. That approximate KE will give you an idea that the expectation of equity shareholder is nearby to that percentage. It will give you a fair idea that, let's say, if KE is 15.35, so your KE could either be 14, it could either be 16. So how we are going to compute is purely a trial and error method. But from where to start, we'll first compute the nearby percentage to start with. I'm going to take that example again. So though I know that we know what exactly is the KE value in this case, but just to reiterate, this was an example. But instead of KE, I have mentioned the market value of share as on today. So a company is foreseeing a growth rate of 12% in the next 2 years, and a growth rate for 3 and 4 is likely to be 10%. And after that, the growth rate is expected to stabilize at 8% per annum. The dividend at 0 at the beginning of the year is 1.50 per share, and the market value is 22.34. So in the last lecture, we computed this 22.34. Today we are going to compute KE. So for that, I'll first judge that at what value, at what percentage, at least an expectation that my KE will be at this level. So for that, I'll take a growth rate which is stable. Like what will be the KE if G is 8%? So we can compute KE using Gordon model. P1 is equals to D1 upon KE minus G. So in order to compute KE will be 15.25%. So we get an idea that KE is nearby to 15.25. So we could either start with 15% or we could start taking KE as 16%. This is a trial and error. So by using this percentage, we will first compute that is my market value using that KE is equal to the information given in my question, that is equal to 22.34. If that is not equal, I'll take some other percentage basis my result. Perfect. So let's assume if my KE is 16%. So using KE as 16%, if I have to compute the market value of the share, what I'll do? I'll first find the present value of the dividends receivable in the unstable growth rate period, that is for those 4 years, and add back the present value of the share in the stable growth rate. So using that, I computed that the market value of the share as on today is 22.34, which is exactly equal to what is given in the information. So with this, I can conclude that the expectation of equity shareholder is actually 16%. What if I have taken 15%? So in that scenario, since the capitalization rate is less, I must have received a value higher than 22.34. Since that value is not equal to what is provided in the information, that is not the actual market price of the share, I'll take another KE which is higher than. So if my result is more than the market value of the share, I'll increase my KE percentage, that is the expectation is obviously more, and vice versa. So if my result, whatever output basis my approximate KE I've computed, is less than the actual market value of the share provided in the problem itself, we will take a lower KE, that is the expectation of the shareholder is less than what we are taking. So this is completely a trial and error approach, and we get in the solution that KE 16%. So I'm not going more examples where I'm actually like using a different percentage and actually deriving at a value, because in the past examinations there were like, I didn't find any question which is based in which we have to compute this KE. Well, using the same logics we can get KE value. So next I'm going to discuss, so we already discussed Walter model and Gordon model, and both these models are actually advocating a thought that whatever you dividend that you pay actually affects the wealth of the shareholder. Now I'm talking about irrelevance theory, that is the school of thought which says that if you pay a dividend, that does not affect the wealth of the shareholder. So this is basically based on a concept that if you pay dividend, the market value of the share reduces. So I'm talking about MM. MM is basically Modi, Gilani and Miller model. So MM, he believes that a firm paying dividend, they will raise the finance not from the retained earnings but could raise it from the external source of finance. So this is against what the Gordon assumption is there, that all the investments are made through retained earnings. MM is of a point of view that external finance is available. So if a company is paying dividend or not retaining anything, it could source its finance, so its earning could increase with that. But what he says, that when a company pays its dividend, the terminal value of that share declines. So because since the terminal value declines and you are paying the dividends, the wealth of the shareholder do not. MM is Modi, Gilani, Miller, that's his name. He believes that a firm which is paying dividend, that firm will raise the finance from some external source, so they are not dependent upon retained earnings. So if the company is paying dividend, the market value of the share will decline. So he's of point of view, right? What is the point of view is there? That dividend does not affect the wealth. So if you are going to pay the dividend, the market value of the share decline, and ultimately the wealth will remain same. Okay, so what exactly is the wealth of the shareholder? That is the price of the share plus the dividend received during the year. Let's take with the help of an example. Suppose you are a shareholder and you have one share of a company of, let's say, ABC company. That one share as on today, so I'm saying that P0 market value of a share is 100 rupees. By the end of the year, your wealth should be 120 rupees. So if I'm not paying any dividend, let's say my dividend is 0, what is your expectation? That for 100 rupees, if by the end of the year, that is a P1 should be 120, that means your KE is 20%, right? Because if the KE is 20, the 100 will turn to 120 at the end of year 1. If I pay dividend, says that the value of the share declines. So if I have to compute this P1, I have P0 100. Let's say that the company is paying a dividend of rupees 8. What is the expectation of the shareholder? 120. I have to compute that what will be the P1. So P0 is 100. The company has already paid 8 rupees as dividend. The wealth should remain same, that is the wealth should remain 120. So what will be the market value of the share? It should be 120. The market value is 120 less rupees 8, 112. Because if the market value of the share is 112, the wealth will remain 120. That is market value of the share plus dividend. So 112 plus rupees 8, that is equals to 120. So if you pay that dividend, the market value of the share declined from 120 to 102. Sorry, that will be 112 because you paid 8 rupees as dividend. So there is no change in the wealth of the shareholder, and that is all model all about. This is hypothesis. So that's what he said, that when dividends are paid, the terminal value, that is the closing value of the share, declines. However, there is no change. So 120 remains 120. It's only the market value of the share which declines from 120 to 112. How we compute it? We simply reduce the dividend value from the expectation. So if whatever the wealth is there, whatever the expectation of shareholder is there, which is 120, I simply reduce the dividend value and I computed the market, that is P1, market value of the share at the end of year 1. So this is all about model. Say that P1, which is market value of the share at the end of the year 1, P0 into 1 plus KE. So in our example, KE was 20%. I want a wealth of 120 at the end of year 1. And the market value will decline if you pay any dividend. So the wealth will remain 120. So P0 to be capitalized at the rate of the expectation. And if any dividend is paid, that is to be reduced to compute the market value of the share at the end of year 1. And this is the formula if you want to remember this as a formula. P1 is equals to P0 into 1 plus KE less the dividend portion. Let's do one question. Okay. Mira Solutions Limited, an engineering company, has a cost of capital of 15%. The current market value of the firm is rupees 30 lakh at rupees 30 per share. So you already know what is P0, which is 30 per share. Assuming values for new investment rupees 9 lakh, earnings are 5 lakh and the dividend is 3 lakh. Show under the assumption, the payout of dividend does not affect the value of the firm. So we actually have to prove that is a point of view that dividend pays does not affect the wealth of the shareholder. Using this example, we are going to prove that only. So says that P1 is equal to P0 into 1 plus KE less dividend. So we know that given the information that KE is 15%, the market value of share as on today is 30 and earning is 5 lakh rupees. So we know how many shares holders are there. We can compute that what is the EPS. So 3 lakh divided by 30, we get to know that there are 1 lakh shares. I have to compute if the dividends are declared, what will be the market value of the share at the end of that. Is I have to compute P1 first. So in first scenario, since dividend is 3 rupees, P1 is 31.5. When the dividends are not declared, my P1 will be 30 into 15%, 115%, which is 34.5. So using 31.5, I have 5 lakh rupees as earning. I am paying 3 rupees per share as dividend. So I am paying 3 lakh rupees as dividend. So the company is actually retaining rupees 2 lakh. I'm talking about a scenario when the company is declaring dividend. How much investment the company has to make? 9 lakh rupees. From this 9 lakh, 2 lakh is already retained by the company. So company has to raise 7 lakh rupees from some external source of finance. We have computed that the market value of the share, that P1 is 31.5. So if the P1 is 31.5, how many shares the company has to issue? If the market MPS is 31.5, amount required 7 lakh divided by 31.5. So the company has to raise 22,222 equity shares to fund 7 lakh extra. Company already has 1 lakh rupees, 1 lakh shares. So after raising this 7 lakh, in total the company will have 1,22,222 shares. And how I compute the market capitalization? By multiplying it with the market value of the share, which is 31.5. We have just computed that. So the market capitalization rate, if the company is declaring dividend, since the number of shares is 1,22,222, market capitalization will be 38,50,000. Now let's talk about another scenario when the company does not declare dividend. So we have already computed that in such scenario, the market value of share will be 34.5. So with the earnings of 5 lakhs, since the company is not distributing any dividend, the company has retained all their earnings. The retained earning available to the company will be 5 lakh rupees. So in order to make an investment of rupees 9 lakh, company has to additionally raise rupees 4 lakh from some external source of finance, right? So for raising that 4 lakh, how many shares do the company has to raise? 4 lakh divided by the market value of the share. So company has to raise 11,594 shares. Company has an extinguishing shares of 1 lakh. So the total number of shares will be 1,11,594. What is the market capitalization or the market value in this situation? 11,594 shares multiplied with the market value of the share. Again, it gives me a market capitalization of 38,50,000. So hence proved that if the company has paid a dividend, and in a scenario the company do not pay any dividend, the market wealth or the market capitalization will remain same. And that's all what model is all about. Well, this is a very common question. Generally, if this questions come that you have to compute a value when the dividends are declared or dividends are not declared, this question is of 8 marks approximately, and this is a very repeated question in your examinations, early examination. But I think this is a very simple and a very scoring 8 marks you can easily grab. That's all I think there in your dividend chapter. Thank you so much. Keep smiling.